Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have some exciting teases for Andor Season 2. That of course being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hop right on into it. In this video, I want to take a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As they read, Andor Disney Plus star teases even better Season 2. Diego Luna, the man behind the leading character of Andor, Cassian, teased that the upcoming second season of the Star Wars series will be even better than the first. While Season 1 might not have gotten the audience that serious, such as Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Book of Boba Fett, its critical and fan reception blew both of these projects out of the water, and many Star Wars fans and non-Star Wars fans alike have both hailed Andor as being some of the best Star Wars content to date. Production for Season 2 is already chugging along at full speed, and the talented individuals behind the scenes are hard at work on finishing the last half of the now beloved project. Tony Gilroy, the director of this overall project for both Season 1 and Season 2, is one of the key producers and creatives behind the show, previously revealed that the second season will be very different, though he also made it clear that it will make the whole experience feel really satisfying. Now, Diego Luna himself added to this hype as he had recently teased what's to come for Andor Season 2. In a recent interview with Deadline, Andor's leading man, that is of course Diego Luna, that portrays Cassian in the show, commented on what fans should expect when his show's second season finally lands on Disney Plus. For those of you that don't completely know, the second season is aiming for a 2024 release date. The actor shared that they're working really hard to bring an even better second season to the world, saying that, in full quote, "This season ends with the beginning of Rogue One, and we will know what happens then. So we're working really hard with the same amount of rigor and energy and passion." And it's really lovely to be hearing so much love about the show from audiences, because that keeps us fighting to do an even better second season. Ending that quote right there. As the article goes on to read, in a previous interview that we had discussed here on the channel as well, producer and director-writer Tony Gilroy talked about how satisfying he hopes the second season will be for fans, saying that, in full quote from Tony Gilroy, "And I'm hoping that what we're gonna do in the second half will make the meal feel really satisfying, because the first year is really about him becoming, and the last line of this tranche of 12 episodes will sum up what we've been trying to get to, and we come back a year later, it will be very different." Ending that quote right there from the Tony Gilroy, the director and writer-producer of the Andor show for both seasons. He then went on to share that the next part of the story will be about learning to be a leader and how difficult it is to put that alliance together. Saying that, in full quote from Tony Gilroy, "The next 4 years of the story are not about becoming a revolutionary. They're about learning to be a leader and how difficult it is to put the alliance together, and what happens to people who are in the original gangsters versus the establishment, and a lot of different other issues." Ending that quote right there. Taking a moment to really, I think, analyze this overall quote here, essentially, not to sound like an English teacher, but I guess in that sense, what Tony Gilroy is saying here to an extent is saying that for the second season, they're doing the same thing what they did with the first one. Expect a little bit more complex here, of course, where you have different storylines, different plot lines, you're dealing with so many different characters and different overall meanings here, and other issues, essentially, is what he's talking about here, where there's not just one, but there's a lot of different things that are going on here all at once, and the whole meaning to that, of course, is seeing all of those come together in one big conclusion that he hopes to be very satisfying, while also talking about how this isn't necessarily a revolutionary type of thing, or the becoming of a revolutionary. It's about becoming a leader, and that really has to go for what Cassian is, and for what we're going to see with Cassian going forward. And the Cassian, essentially, that we see in Rogue One, how are you going to take the character that we have from, of course, Andor Season 1, and develop him into the character that we see, the Cassian that we see in Rogue One? And of course, I've discussed this plenty of times here on the channel, but the Cassian that by the time we see in Rogue One is willing to lay down his life for this overall Rebel Alliance here, something that the Season 1 Andor just wouldn't ever do, wouldn't even ever consider. He'd want to get away from it as fast as possible. And also, in the main sense, something I never hear anybody talk about is the way that Diego Luna's Cassian Andor in Andor Season 1, especially towards the beginning of the overall show, overall season, he's such a lone wolf. I barely feel like I ever have people talk about that. I feel like I've never talked talked about that, but I think that's like a perfect way to put it, is that he is such a lone wolf type of character. Really, in the sense that he only cares about himself to a certain extent, of course, while loving and having caring people around him here and there, but he cares about like everybody in Rogue One. He cares about the entirety of the galaxy, the fate of the galaxy in Rogue One. So Season 1 Andor is kind of selfish in that way, and then kind of developing him into what we see with Rogue One is going to be beyond interesting, and there's a lot of groundwork I think that they have to go through with this, and my only concern for Andor Season 2 is the fact that they might have the problem with potentially rushing it, especially when you are dealing with so many different storylines and different characters that aren't all really necessarily together, all in one place, all together. They rather have that overall conclusion towards the end in the finale there, of course. A huge plot detail that we do know for Season 2 officially for Andor Season 2 is the way that it's going to have time jumps. You're going to take those 3 episode arcs that we had here for Andor Season 1, also seen in the animated stuff with Star Wars The Clone Wars, translating that to live action again for Season 2 Andor, and then except you're going to have differences in years, and you're going to climb the ladder of up to 4 years up until we have the finale and those finale arc episodes. So that overall consistency is one thing that I kind of fear that would kind of go away for Andor Season 2. However, time will tell, and we are of course dealing with some very talented people. Tony Gilroy and his overall writing is amazing, and the actors and actresses, cast and crew that work on this overall project are phenomenal, so I think that we're in excellent hands. Lastly, for one more quote, while recently speaking with IndieWire, Diego Luna shared his gratitude for being at the Critics' Choice Awards, saying that when people talk about Star Wars as one thing, it's too heavy. I'm here because Andor is being celebrated, and Andor happens to be a part of the Star Wars family, but it's its own thing, you know, and that's one of the reasons Andor has been so celebrated, because it's different, it's unique, it's its own. It's exactly what we wanted to do, and it feels great and weird at the same time, because we are a part of Star Wars, but we are different from anything else that Star Wars brings. And I guess I'm just very lucky to have such freedom in a show that is a part of Star Wars in a whole. Ending that quote right there. And I think really with what Diego Luna is saying here about this overall, having awards and being nominated for this type of thing, is that in the sense that Star Wars is such a franchise that's so well known, it's so out there, it's something like Marvel, something like DC, it's so out there, but yet you take a smaller project, an underdog essentially of what Andor is, you give it all these awesome, amazing, well-deserved nominated awards and everything like that. It's honestly such an insane thing to do. It brings so much inspiration to all of the people that work on this overall project. Now, from there, the article goes on to talk about what to anticipate for Season 2 of Andor. One big connection Andor could pull off going forward, it's including of Grand Admiral Thrawn in the proceedings, bringing him into live action as well, much like we're going to see with the Ahsoka Tano show in the Mandoverse coming out later this year. The villain is known for hunting down rebellions, and it would be a perfect narrative tool for the series to utilize. After all, he's already set to be introduced in the wider audiences in this year's Ahsoka Tano coming to Disney+. So with Andor now venturing into the 4 years before Rogue One, one would think it would have to intersect with the characters from Rebels, the animated show, at one point or another. Might fans see Ahsoka Tano or other characters a part of Fulcrum or even the Ghost Crew is something that would be amazing to see, but is simply up in the air. Maybe the last chunk of Andor's second season could include Hera and Syndulla, maybe something as a cameo, potentially played by Mary Elizabeth Winston, as she's heavily rumored to be portraying Hera Syndulla in live action for the Ahsoka show later this year. Hera Syndulla as a character is highly involved in the broader rebellion and even had a name drop in Rogue One. Same thing of course for Star Wars Squadrons, the video game, let's not forget that. At the very least, fans should be able to expect K2SO to finally show up as well, a fan favorite droid from Rogue One, the movie. No matter what Lucasfilm and those involved plan on doing for Andor's second season, hopefully they'll be able to live up to the expectations set by their phenomenal first season. Now from there, that is where the article concludes, and as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have this article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. This is a lot to take in, there's a lot going on here, there's a lot to hope for and expect to see here going forward with Andor and the Rogue One universe universe, essentially, the Rogue One verse, kind of like how we have the Mandoverse. Are there other potentials that they could have, like a spin-off Solo for maybe Saw Gerrera, or other like small rebellions kind of outbursting? Maybe a potential show about Thrawn, as a Thrawn books kind of based off of that, and bringing that into live action, bringing that into Disney Plus. There's a lot of different ideas, theories, speculations, and hype going on for Andor Season 2, and whatever kind of continuations they decide to do for the Rogue One verse. I would love to hear what you guys all think about this in the comment section down below. What are you looking forward to seeing most here for Andor Season 2 and the overall Rogue One universe, essentially, here? What do you want to see going forward? I would love to hear what you guys all think in the comments down below. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.